Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. So in this video we're going to start looking at Dragons of Tarkir, which is the last set in the original Tarkir block. We're going to start off by looking at Massed Ranks, which is a white and green deck. Let's take a look at the deck list. So we've got 23 creatures, 8 instants, 3 enchantments, 1 artifact, 25 land, mana curve off to the side there. So let's start taking a look at the contents of the deck. So, Dragons of Tarkir. A bit of a, I was going to say a bit of a weird set. I don't think it's that weird a set, honestly. It's very, I feel it's very different to the previous two. I don't like it as much as the previous two Tarkir sets. I didn't like this whole kind of storyline change that. Was it like Sarkhan goes back in time and he changes things so dragons are still alive. I wasn't fond of that. As a result, though, there are a bunch of dragons in Dragons of Tarkir, so it's actually doing kind of what the very old Scourge set tried to do years before this, which was be focused all around dragons. So there are dragons in every color and in 2 color combinations. So yeah, that's fun. If you like dragons, this is a great set. But it means that all the original clans now don't exist. They're all ruled under by like dragons, and some of them have had a bit of a mechanical change. So we'll see how that goes on. All these decks, by the way, it's a kind of a Rise of the Eldrazi situation where it doesn't use any cards from Khans Tarkir or Fate Reforged. I guess maybe to kind of sell that thing that like, no, there's a different timeline, so nothing is the same anymore. But also I think because Dragons of Tarkir was just like a biggish set anyway, so probably wanted to include as many new cards as possible. So we've got 2 Enduring Scale Lord, so 4 colours, a green and a white for a 4/4 with flyer. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are placed on another creature you control, you can put a +1/+1 counter on Enduring Scale Lord. So yeah, this is a deck all about +1/+1 counters. It's kind of like essentially what the Abzan became. So it's instead they've cut the black out entirely, and it's just green and white, focusing on +1/+1 counters. So yeah, there's a lot of support for that, like a lot of things that care about +1/+1 counters and interactions between them. Looking at Enduring Scale Lord, I've just realised there's 2 of them in the deck. Does this mean if you have both of them out, it goes infinite? Right? Because one sees the other one getting a counter, so then the other one gets a counter, but then that means the other one gets the counter, which means the other one get the counter. Have I critically misread that, or is that the intent here? Yeah, if so, that is interesting to have 2 of them in the deck to have that potentially happen. So yeah, there we go. We got 2 Avon Tacticians. Apart from that interaction, it's fine. It's it's a 4 flyer for 6 mana with an ability that interacts with a lot of other cards in the deck. It's obviously fine. We've got 2 Avon Tacticians, 4 and a white for a 2/3 flyer, and when it ends the battlefield, you bolster 1. So bolster is back from Fate Reforged. Bolster is you choose a creature that you control that has the least toughness, and then it gets a +1/+1 counter. So your weakest creature gets a counter. I talked about it a bit in the previous Abzan deck. It's okay, I think, as a mechanic. You don't have as much control where that counter is going to go, but usually it means that the bolster effect is usually cheaper because you can't just put it on. The thing that maybe that you actually want to put it on, it's got to go on the weakest thing. If you have 2 creature with the same lowest toughness, then you get to choose one, so you get some choice there. But yeah, you can't kind of keep front loading your biggest thing. I think it's a little expensive. 5 maybe, is it, for a 2/3 flyer that just does a +1/+1 counter? Maybe it's okay. I don't know. And then 2 Sandcrafter Mages, 2 and white for a 2/2. When it ends the battlefield, bolster 1. Yeah, it's fine. It's just exactly the same as Aim Tactician, isn't it? Except 1 less toughness and doesn't have flying. Yeah, it's fine. 2 Salt Road Quartermasters, 2 and a green for a 1/1, enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it, so it's 3/3 when it comes in. And it does this ability I usually like seeing on creatures with +1/+1 counters, where it can take its counters and put them on something else, which is quite fun. Always like it when a creature with +1/+1 counters has the ability to shift them around. I quite like that. We got 2 Sands. Oh, it actually goes quite nicely because it takes its counters off, and then it's down to only 1 toughness. So then if you bolster, it can go on these, and then they can shift the counters around again. So actually, that's interesting. I like that. Two Sandstep Scavengers, 4 and a green for a 2/2. When it ends the battlefield, you bolster 2. Yep, again, it's pretty much more of the same. Just enter the battlefield and do some bolstering. It's fine. It's fine. 2 Servant of the Scale, 1 green mana, comes in with a +1/+1 counter on it. When it dies, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Servant of the Scale. Basically modular, so when it dies, it can give its counters to something else, which is perfectly fine. Yeah, yeah, it's okay. A single Scale Guard Sentinels, double green for a 2/3. As additional cost to cast Scale Guard Sentinels, you can reveal a dragon card from your hand. There aren't that many in this deck. I think there's 3, because there's the 2 Enduring Scale Lords and the Foil Face Rare, which is the next card. So there's, I mean, there's at least 3. There might be another one that I've forgotten about, but when it ends the battlefield, it ends the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter if you reveal a dragon card or you control a dragon as you cast it. It's okay. I mean, I suppose you could say at the very minimum, it's 2 green mana just for a 2/3. I guess with the potential going up to a 3/4, which for 2 green mana should be pretty good. I just don't think you've got like maybe enough dragons to make this worthwhile in the deck. So yeah. So the foil face rare, it feels kind of a miss to me, honestly, because it's a big green white dragon. It's in the green white clan, has nothing to do with +1/+1 counters, which I feel is like a real missed opportunity, honestly. It could have been, I don't know, like a doubling season effect or something. I don't know, or just I don't know, every turn just gives something a +1/+1 counter. I don't know, it could have been something like that. But it's just 5 green and white for a 6/6 flyer. So I mean, it's just 7 mana for a 6/6 flyer, right? And when it dies, you can put it on top of the bottom of owner's library. So I mean, obviously, I'm not saying it's a bad card. It's just I feel a shame it doesn't do anything with +1/+1 counters. Obviously, this means it's incredibly hard to kill, because if it dies, you just put it back on top. I do like it has the option that it can go on bottom, like if you don't want to like keep drawing, if you don't want to lock yourself out of drawing new cards, you can put it on the bottom if you want to. So that's okay. But yeah, obviously, once you draw this and it starts hitting the board, like it's very difficult to keep it off the board, I suppose, because it's just gonna, keep coming back. They've got 3 light walkers, 1 white for a 2/1, has flying as long as it has a +1/+1 counter in it. So if it has a +1/+1 counter, it is at least then a 3/2, and it's a 3/2 with flyer, which is all right. Yeah, it's fine having 3 of those. It's okay. If it doesn't get the counter, it's a 2/1 for 2, which is obviously not great in white, but it is what it is. A single Dramacool Dunecaster, 1 white mana for a 0/2, and pay 1 and a white tap target creature without flying. Yep, the original Master Decoy is definitely long forgotten. We're definitely not having it anymore, so we're starting to definitely see this more now, where the body it's on is usually a lot weaker, and the effect is more expensive and usually more restrictive as well. So it is what it is. We've got 2 Champion of Arashin, 3 and a white for a 3/2 with lifelink. Yeah, it's okay. If you can get counters on it, obviously then it's fine, but it's sort of okay. Then a single Territorial Rock, 1 and a white just for a 1/3 flyer. Again, fine. Invalidating Stormcrow by having the extra point of toughness, but yeah, it's fine. 2 Dramacool Warriors, 1 and a white for a 3/1. This I think actually is a better fit in the deck, just because it has low toughness, so it goes well with all the bolster effects, so it's almost like guaranteed to be chosen as one of the bolster effects. So actually what I think the deck needed is actually more stuff with lower toughness, I guess, so it could benefit more from those +1/+1 guns, those bolster effects, maybe, I don't know. It feels like quite a lot of the creatures looked at had quite high toughness, which then, I don't know, I mean, it still synergize with the ability, obviously, doesn't it? Because then you're making a tough thing even tougher. I don't know. I don't know what to feel about bolster. It's okay, I guess. We've got 2 Scale Blessings moving on to non-creature spells. So 3 and a white instant, you bolster 1, then you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. So this is okay. So one creature's going to get 2 +1/+1 counters from this, and then all your other stuff's that has counters is going to get another counter, which is okay. And doing that instant speed is potentially like a really strong combat trick if you're giving sort of like 2 or more creatures extra counters. That could be pretty good. A single enduring victory, 4 and a white, destroy target attacking or blocking creature, and then you bolster 1. So there's going to be kind of a lot of these spells which are basically, kind of core set-esque cards just with bolster 1 like tacked onto them. So this is like just Divine Verdict for 1 extra mana. That does bolster as well. So yeah, again, it's fine. It's removal. It's expensive, but it's fine. 2 Inspiring Call. This I think is really good though, and I'm actually surprised at how cheap it is. It does require a bit of setup, but it's 2 and a green. Instant speed. You draw a card for every creature you control with a +1/+1 counter, right? And then they gain indestructible in turn. This is like really bonkers strong, right? Because like I feel like even if you draw, I say you got to set it up. Obviously, you got to get +1/+1 counters on your stuff. But I think if you draw, even if you draw 2 cards of this, right? I think this is great. This is then 3 mana for drawing 2 cards at instant speed, and also then making some of your stuff indestructible, which is obviously really good to do at instant speed. So yeah, this is really strong. I'm really happy there's 2 of them in here. And I say it obviously does require some setup, but it's not like you're hurting for effects that give +1/+1 counters in this deck. So yeah, Inspiring Call, really, really good card, I think. Got 2 Dramacool's Gift, just 4 and a green, just bolster 4 instant speed, which is giving something 4 +1/+1 counters at instant speed is not to be sniffed at. And obviously, yeah, it's going to be like your weakest thing, or not your weakest thing, your thing with less toughness or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, doing that instant speed, for 5 mana is again that's not dreadful for 5 mana to give something permanent 4 counters. So the other end of the deck is Secure the Wastes. This feels like, I don't know, like a little... I don't know if this is the right secondary rare for the deck to have, because then it's all about going wide, which, like, with all the counters, you'd expect the deck to kind of go tall instead rather than wide. So Secure the Waste, X and a white, you put X/1/1 white warrior creature tokens. It's an instant speed, which is really good that it creates some tokens at instant speed, and, creating a bunch of creature tokens is obviously really good. It's a really good thing to funnel a load of mana into. I'm not saying it's a bad card, it just feels like weird in this deck, and then you get into like the very awkward thing of like if you have tokens that if you have token creatures that are also going to get +1/+1 counters, which I always find is like always such a nightmare to keep track of. So yeah, again, like I've sort of mentioned it before, but then this maybe falls into the pitfall thing of like this being difficult to play kind of out the box for like a new player who maybe doesn't have a lot of like resources available to them, because like you obviously need dice at least, or some of the way to represent counters, and then you might need something to represent warriors, and like I don't know, these warrior creature tokens, and it's like I don't know, starting to get into a bit like, oh, is it really that playable out of the box? Yeah, but I'm not saying Secure the Waste is a bad card. It's just I don't know. And then a single Sheltered Eyrie, 2 and a green. Enchantment, it's an aura that goes on a land, and the land just has to add 2 mana of any colour to your mana pool, which is fine. It's okay, just a bit of ramp. I'm not sure the deck really needs it, I suppose, because like you don't have like a crazy high mana curve. I mean, obviously it's still good to get extra, because I mean this only giving the land's only giving 1 extra mana, isn't it? And it can be mana of any one color. So yeah, it's fine. Again, I'm just not sure the deck really needed this effect, honestly. And then this is exciting. We've got 2 pacifisms, but for I think the first time ever, it's not Grak. It's Kraug. So yeah, we all know what pacifism does. It's just nice that it's got like new art. Grak has finally earned a break. And it's a shame I don't think this art is used carrying forward, which is a shame because I really like it. The big ogre not wanting to fight because he might step on a butterfly, and that would be sad. It would be sad, Kraug. But yeah, we all know what pacifism does. It's great. And then a single Dramacool Monument. All the dragons decks have at least one of these. So it's essentially just a mana rock, 3 mana artifact, comes down, gives you green or white. And you can pay 4 a green and white, and it turns into a 4/4 dragon with flying until end of turn. So all the dragon decks basically have one of these that gives you mana of one of 2 different colors, and you can spend 6 mana to animate it into a 4/4 flyer. So yeah, it's fine. Again, it's like okay mana thing to do. And then in terms of land, so we've got a single Evolving Wilds, which is a shame. I kind of wish there'd been more than one of these actually. But yeah, it's fine to have Evolving Wilds. Just tap it, sacrifice it, search for a basic land, put it into play tapped, shuffle your library. Yep, love Evolving Wilds, perfect budget fetch land. And then 13 plains and 11 forests. So thinking about what could have been, So yeah, I do think some of these cards would have fit a lot better in this deck, honestly. So as an alternate rare, let's look at Sunscorched Regent. So this may be instead of Secure the Wastes. So 3 double white for a 4/3 with flying. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on Sunscorched Regent and you gain a life, which is really strong. Yeah, whenever opponent's casting a spell, this is going to get stronger and gaining some life. So that's really good. That's really strong. So that would have been a great, I think, alternate rare. And then other cards we could have just had in here. Sight of the Scale Lords. For an agreeance enchantment at the beginning of combat on your turn, creature you control with toughness 4 or greater get +2/+2 and get vigilance until turn 10. So all your tough stuff gets even stronger and has gets vigilance, so that could have been okay. You know, if you're giving +1/+1 counters to your stuff with lowest toughness, they're going to maybe meet this threshold. Could be okay. And then Echoes of the Kin Tree, 1 and a white for an enchantment, and you just have the constant ability, just 2 and a white to bolster 1. So you can just constantly, you know, as a mana sink, just keep doing this and just keep bolstering creatures and just keep handing out +1/+1 counters. So I think that could have been good as well. Maybe instead of you know, the aura that goes on the land, the I've forgotten what it's called, but yeah, that one. So yeah, I don't know. So overall, I think it's all right. I don't like this as much as like the original Abzan one or the There wasn't a +1/+1 counter one in the in Fate Reforged, was there? No, because no, it wouldn't be. But yeah, I think this is okay. It's all. Oh no, there was. Of course, there was. There was the Warrior one. The Warrior one had all the bolster effects. God, I'm all over the place today. Yeah, this is okay. I think it's all right. It doesn't get me that excited. There's a few really good cards in here, I think. But as a whole, it feels. I don't know. I just kind of. I feel a bit bored by it. Honestly, it just feels very kind of by the numbers. It's just green, white, +1/+1 counters. And like nothing really is doing. It's not doing anything interesting with the counters, I suppose. That's why, outside of a few cards, it's normally just, oh, you put +1/+1 counters on them. It's not like the other more interesting Abzan cards I thought, where you interacted with them a bit more. But I don't know. It seems fine. I think it would have played probably fine out of the box. So I say there's a few weird card choice in here, but overall I think it's all right. So yeah, a bit of a weird start there looking at Dragons of Tarkir, but we'll push on. If you got any thoughts or comments about this deck or any of the cards in it, stick a comment below. I'll give those a read. But I'll be back next time. Go look at another Dragons of Tarkir intro pack. So until then, thanks for watching and listening, and have a great day.